You mentioned Walter Cronkite, and they were, of course, showing a lot of his clips and some of the specials that he did. You look back at that, how the news was done back in CBS and NBC, Huntley, Brinkley. I mean, it was straight reporting, and maybe they had a little commentary once in a while. Eric Severide would do a minute or two, but it was news. And now it's, like you said, they give a headline and then 20 minutes of commentary, you know.
Yeah, and the television newscasts almost look like Entertainment Tonight.
Yep.
You know, I mean, they billboard things. They got more what we call in the business bumpers going in and out of breaks. With, you know, they'll say, you know, they'll start off a newscast with, you know, 3 or 4 headlines, and then when they go to the anchor says, now let's go to breaking news, and the breaking news is bigger than any of the headlines that they promote. Why wouldn't they promote the breaking news?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they may say, you know, we got a cat in a tree, we got a road closed, and there was a hurricane in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And then they come back and say, breaking news, 2 people were killed on Orlando streets. I don't understand that. You know, maybe being in this business as long as I have has jaded me, but I see some things that I have to agree with Walter Cronkite's assessment and a lot of people's assessment that news has become entertainment, and it shouldn't be.
Well, I hope you feel a little bit better, Ron. You don't have to spend that money at a psychiatrist's office now. I don't know. I always like to give you the opportunity, and I hope it helps.
I'm glad you do this to me every once in a while because it's a lot cheaper than seeing a shrink.
Well, it's good to hear because with a few exceptions, I know Dennis Miller on his show, he'll talk about the media like we just talked about, and a few people do, but not enough do, I think. I think that's the problem.
Well, the problem is that I don't have a chance to do that. I'm talking to Piers Morgan, I'm talking to celebrities, and the show just doesn't because, you know, it's designed to be a kind of an Entertainment Tonight show, so it doesn't lend itself to opinion. And when I get a chance to be with people like yourself and I can give my opinion, I feel like, you know, I've been like reborn, you know, born again, if you will. But I got to tell you something when we were talking about the thing with Michael Jackson. You know, when and Elvis Presley, Groucho Marx, who was a huge, huge name, when he died, his death was so buried, if you want to use a play on words, with the news of the fact that Elvis had died, because he died within 2 days of Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
So, you know, here you got this huge entertainer from the vaudeville days, Groucho Marx, you know, the Marx Brothers, You Bet Your Life, you know, the whole 9 yards, and his death was more or less dwarfed by the news that Elvis Presley had died. Well, Ed dies, 2 days later, Farrah Fawcett, and on the same day, Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't something that was, you know, it was 2 or 3 days of Ed's death, and then it was totally dwarfed by the sudden death of and an unexpected death of Michael Jackson. But I talked to somebody, and I have to give credit to the person who said this, but I can't remember who it was. So in the interim, I'll take the credit for it. It was almost like The Tonight Show, where Johnny and Ed would start the show off, and then the first guest would come on, and Ed would move down a little bit on the couch. And then the next guest would come on, and then Ed would move down a little bit more. And that's what he was when he died. He was the perfect second banana. He shone real bright the first couple of days, and then with the news of Farrah Fawcett and Michael Jackson, he moved a couple of seats down on the couch, which is what he did for 30 years on The Tonight Show. What a great analogy.
And one thing now, not to take anything away from the guys that do late night now, but it just has not been the same, you know, since 17 years ago. I mean, Conan has the seat now, and you have Jimmy Fallon, you got Jimmy Kimmel, Letterman, of course, still on, but it's just not the same.
No, I will say 2 things about late night. Okay, Jimmy's a friend of mine, so I feel partial, but I will tell you right now, Andy Richter is no Ed McMahon.
No.
And and the strongest guy on late night right now, watch for him because he's going to be a killer. It'd be Craig Ferguson.
We talked about that last time, and he does a monologue kind of similar to, if you see old Jack Parr tapes, kind of stream of consciousness. Very entertaining. Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's a very good term to use. Everything's off the cuff. As soon as the guest sits down, the blue card with all the questions on it is ripped up and thrown away. He gets a little whacked a little once in a while, but he does sometimes get off the beaten path. But all in all, he is very smooth, Very smooth, very quick guy.
Yeah, I like his interviewing style when he stays on topic, but like you said, it's off the cuff, and it doesn't, I'll ask you this, you answer me that. It isn't that type of interview, which is very
No,
boring.
it isn't. And if CBS dot their I's and cross their T's correct, when Letterman leaves, and Letterman owns the Ferguson show,
right,
he would be the guy to put in there. He would be the guy to put in there and just groom him a little bit so he doesn't get too carried away, and then he'd be a powerhouse for CBS.
I think Letterman may have signed for 2 or 3 more years, I saw, but yeah. I would guess that's probably going to be it for him, and hopefully that'll be the choice at that point. If Ferguson wants to do it, and I wouldn't see why he wouldn't want to do it. But
I don't think so. I think he'd take it in a New York heartbeat. I really do. Yeah, I really think he would.
Well, Ron, your show syndicated and available online as well. Who do you got coming up?
Well, let me tell you who's coming up, and I will tell you, too, that you can check us out at ronseggi.com. That's RONSEGGI.com. There's a blatant plug. And on the front page, there is a little old-time radio icon, and you hit that, and you can hear the latest show. In weeks to come, we have Deborah Norville, Tori Spelling, my friend Piers Morgan, Steve Sharippa, that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks, Colin Ray, the singer. We got a lot of people coming up. And then we're going to be back in Branson the week of November 10th, 11th, and 12th for their salute to the veterans. And, we'll have our typical crew that we get in Branson, Yakov, and Tony Orlando, and Andy Williams, and we'll be doing a couple of weeks out of there. So we got a lot of things happening.
Well, Ron, it's always, anybody famous is going to be on a radio show. She always stops by yours, and like you said, it is the Tonight Show of radio. You have the best guests on there. And Ron, it's always great to talk to you, and we wanted to have you on not only to catch up again, but to do a bit of an art tribute to Ed McMahon. He was a well-loved figure here in Florida.
Well, I want to tell you something. He used to live in Florida, too. In fact, he lived not too far from where you are. He used to live down. He had a house down there.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a beautiful home down there, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. He lived because what happened was when he was coming back and forth to do Star Search, then on the weekends he would go down to the Gulf side where he had a beautiful home, and he always loved Florida, and he felt like it was his second home. And to us it was, in our family, because he would come stay with us all the time. But I appreciate the tribute to him. It's funny because all of us broadcasters always have somebody that they kind of look up to, and in a lot of our cases, and you can relate to this, he was the ultimate announcer from the standpoint of not only being an announcer but being an entertainer. He sang. He had an album. I have an album by him, and it's got a lot of songs from the late 60s, early 70s, and one of the things that I'm going to be doing in the months to come is we're going to go into the studio, and I'm going to take one of those songs and do a duet with him.
Oh, kind of like Natalie Cole did with
Right.
That's
exactly
great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to because he always wanted to do that, so we're going to do that. And I would be probably pretty much on target if I said that there's going to be a book about him that I'm going to do, because I promised him I would do that, and I want to do that, and it's going to be a book that shoots it straight, but shows the man as he was, and a little CD that's going to accompany it, showing the best of and a few bloopers that Ed would get a charge out of doing.
Well, we'll look forward to that.
Adventure.
That's going to be great. And Ron, again, good to talk to you. We'll do it again before the end of the year, and thanks for being with us today.
Doug, it is always a pleasure. I want to say hi to all the great people over there at WSLR. Thank you for the time. It's always great being on the air with you, and I love that part of the country, and I love that part of the state. So I'm going to come down, and one of these days I'm going to be knocking on the SLR door.